Welcome back, everybody.
Hello,
Welcome back to Mayor Elizabeth Jones Friday Hour.
part two.
Yes, part two. So,
Uno, dos.
I
Let's see. Do you have any plays in the works?
want to audition for Matilda in about 2 weeks.
And that's about Matilda is about uh, uh is the Harry Belafonte song Matilda. She took the money and ran with the tailor.
No, it's about a
As
schoolgirl.
Oh, it's about. Oh, I know Matilda. It's by Roald Dahl, right?
Yeah.
Wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. James and the Giant Peach. Matilda, I think, was a movie with Danny DeVito
Yeah.
and his wife. And it's Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
And he plays your father. Are you playing? No, Matilda's like a little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you like stories about girls like Eloise in the Plaza Hotel? Or what's the one with the girl in Paris?
Madeline.
Madeline. You like
Madeline. They call her Madeline. Yeah.
Like Madeline. You like all those stories?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing we have as boys is Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer.
My mom said that she used to like Madeline when she was a kid. So.
I used to like. There was one I did like. You remember Ramona the Pest?
Oh yeah, that was funny.
That was the best. Ramona the Best. That was really funny.
That was funny.
I like movies and books and stories where people are always in trouble. There's Anne of Green Gables. Yeah, I know that one.
I want to be auditioning for that too.
Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah, and I have another Christmas show coming up about Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown.
I want you coming to that too.
I hope so.
On December 6th.
That's how it goes. He calls the English teacher Daddy, Charlie Brown. He's a clown. I remember there was a guy. This is awful. It shows you how far back I go. I remember there was a guy. My dad had a friend named Charlie Brown.
Oh.
He's a black guy,
Oh.
African American. So we used to call him the Black Charlie Brown. made no sense at all. And I brought it to, being a little kid, I never brought it to his attention, but he could have said, you know that guy on the cartoons? He's the white Charlie Brown. I'm Charlie Brown, he's the white Charlie Brown. Get that clear. Have you ever met anyone with your name, Mary Jones?
Oh yeah, years ago. There was this little girl named Mary Jones.
Yeah.
And one of the teachers would introduce me to her.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, guess what? We met another Mary Jones, and I got all offended.
Well, the way I see it is, if you have the same name as somebody in your class, even a first name,
Yeah.
whoever's older or has been there longer gets an edge.
Yeah.
You're Mary number 2. This guy's older, or this guy's been here longer.
Yeah.
You know, I've never had a really good friend with my name, Kevin. You know, when I was thinking about this, there's 2 guys on Friends, Matt LeBlanc and Matthew Perry, with the same name.
Yeah.
Matthew.
Yeah. I know.
And I've never. Oh, here's something really weird. I've never kissed a girl with any of my sister's names. Too weird.
Yeah.
I certainly never dated a woman with my mother's name. Every time I meet a new person, I always say, I hope they don't have a relation's name. What else? Actually, I did have a friend in college named Kevin. He was my first friend in college. But I was always hoping there would be I'd be the first Kevin to be like the Speaker of the House. Well, there's Kevin McCarthy. He beat me to it. I wanted to be the first Kevin to win an Oscar. Kevin Kline won an Oscar. Well, maybe as a director, I could be the first director named Kevin. No, there's Kevin Costner won an Oscar for Dance with Wolves. So I don't know what's left for Kevin. Is Eddie Kevin won like the Indy 500? Maybe not. Maybe that's. I got to do something to uphold the great name of Kevin. People always ask me why do I call myself Kaye Lazar. I found out that Danny Kaye. You remember Danny Kaye?
Yeah.
He his real name was Kaminsky. Daniel
Uh,
Kaminsky. And he said that by changing his name to Kay, he never really had to change his real name. He just called himself. He just said, "I just changed my name to an. I just shortened it to an initial, Danny Kay." So there you go. And so I thought that's a good idea, Kaye Lazar. That's who I am.
yeah. Yeah.
Now my name, my real name, Kravitz, is actually become popular in years. There was the Bewitched. That was the first one that people ever even. And then there was a name. There was a movie with a book, a Canadian book, made into a movie, The Apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz, with Richard Dreyfuss, which he made before Jaws, and then he made Jaws. And I just saw him interviewed over the weekend on CBS Sunday Morning. Jaws had its 50th anniversary. You ever seen Jaws?
Oh yeah.
Isn't that a great film?
Years ago.
And anyway, so I saw, and then Lenny Kravitz came on the scene, which I've already told that story about before. But now he has a daughter, Zoe Kravitz. So Kravitz is going to keep going. That name's going to, as long as she's still popular.
Yeah.
and then I'll have to pick up the slack once she starts becoming a has-been.
Yeah.
And it's my turn to be famous. There always has to be a Kravitz out there.
Yeah.
Now, he's done a lot. Lenny Kravitz done a lot for my name because now people know how to spell it and pronounce it. There's a group of my family that changed their name from Kravitz to Kraus.
Oh.
And the reason, and they didn't even change it legally. When they came to Ellis Island,
Yeah.
they said, this name, and it was actually spelt in like the Polish language. Because how do you pronounce it? They said Kravitz. They said, well, then we're shortening it to Kraus. They said, all right. So they just put that on the form, and they came across past the Statue of Liberty, and they never legally changed their name.
Oh.
And the Kraus is spelled Kraus. The trouble is with the name Kraus, there's about 20 different ways to spell Kraus, and and every time they see it written down, it's spelled wrong, or it's not spelled the way they spell it.
Yeah, see, my mom's maiden name was Womack.
Womack.
And they were going to change the name to McCargo.
Yeah.
But something happened there. I don't know what happened, but I heard something about McCargo.
Why that name?
I guess they wanted to change it, I guess. I don't know.
McCargo? Is that an Italian name? Or what?
I think it's the English Irish or
McCargo.
something like that.
With an OW on the end? Do you remember how it was spelled?
It's MCCARGO.
Oh, McCargo.
Yes.
Hey, McCargo.
Yeah.
Mick means son of in Irish. O means of, which kind of means son of too. Like O'Reilly means like of the Rileys. McCargo means of the cargoes. No, son of the cargo. Son of Mr. Old Man McCargo. Old Man Cargo, yeah. Whenever you see the name Von before a name in German, that means son of. Like Baron von Frankenstein or Herbert von Carrion. And we were told when I was doing, when I was on the radio doing classical music, they said never call him von Carrion. His name is Carrion because his name, Von, is almost like a middle name. But if your name is Van, like my friend Keith Van Allen or Dick Van Dyke, that is part of the name.
Yeah.
So Von is different from Van, and Van is usually Dutch too. So anyway, you know, in Ireland where I live, because almost all the names are of English derivation, like Smith and Jones and stuff like that, you have the option to change your name to the Irish translation of it. So if your name is James, how is it? Your name is James Smith, which is a common name, Jim Smith. You could change your name to the Irish version, Seamus McGowan.
Yeah.
Actually, McGowan would be Jones. No, that's Smith. I got my Smiths and Jones mixed up.
Yeah.
Alias Smith and Jones.
Yeah.
That's you.
I'm a Jones. So. I think Jones is even a Welsh or Irish name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so many people came to this country from of English derivation. They're almost all English. Um, I mean, almost everyone, almost all your well, I'm saying that I mean the presidents and everything. They all had English names. Washington, and Jefferson, and Johnson, and then they there was no ethnicities. The first ethnic president we ever had probably was John Kennedy, Irishman.
Yeah.
The idea he was the only non-Protestant president we ever up to that point we ever had. But for the most part, we still have quite a few like the Bushes and the Reagans. Reagan, that was an Irish name though. I think his mother was Irish. No, his father was Irish. His mother was something else. Yeah. And so that's what. So I've been, I always think of names. I'm constantly, looking up names at my job, and I'm finding some people have the wildest names. One, I tell you, I once looked in a high school yearbook once, an old high school yearbook from the early 960s, and I saw a guy's name, Proctor Leak, and I thought, God, that's the funniest name I ever heard. I remember there was an Italian woman, I guess she was Italian. She came to our class, it's first grade, and the teacher said, I remember her name was Mrs. Napoli, and nobody laughed but me. So why are you laughing at that name, Kevin? The nun says, and I said, it's a funny name. Yeah, I'm 6 years old, I don't care. Said, it's a funny sounding name. He goes, how would you like it if people started laughing at your name? And I was about to say I didn't care, because I actually had a crazy name. And I saw a bunch of kids, the bullies of the class, like leaning forward in their chair, rubbing their hands together, waiting for the teacher to give the green light to just start insulting me. So I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it. So when you're a kid, you're very sensitive, and when you're a kid, you want to name like everybody's name. And I have a friend named Tom Michael, and he's a former Jeopardy champ, and he's a good friend of mine. But he has two first names, Tom Michael, and they're actually the most common names there are. Thomas Michael. I know and I once was working in politics. Not I wasn't running for anything, but he might be listening. This might get back to him. I was and he introduced himself. He was probably from a rich family. You know what his name was?
What?
Swanson Ferguson.
Swanson Ferguson.
And I remember Jackie Mason said in Caddyshack, he goes, "You had me at a disadvantage. I only have one last name." People like, you ever notice all the presidents, almost their middle name is almost always their mother's maiden name. I don't know how that works out, but it's these Barack Hussein Obama. What is it? There's William Jefferson Clinton, George Walker Bush, the Ronald Wilson Reagan, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Lyndon Baines. It's almost all of them have their mother's maiden name as their middle name. So they can't put that on there as their. In other words, they can't put their mother's maiden name as when they're on the internet as their question. What is your mother's maiden name? And that unlocks your bank account. Yeah. People tell me that all the time. You can't put your hometown on your around, because when they ask where you were born, and that's the thing that unlocks the that you can get your password or something. Someone said, why do you have to put your real name anyway? Or put your real hometown anyway? I tell people I was born in Las Vegas. or I was born in Beverly Hills. or Monaco. I mean, why do you have to say you were born in Short Pump, Virginia? That's where I was born. Anyway, speaking of rock and roll and rolling rock, what do you know about Janet?
She was out when I was a kid. She started when she was really young during the 1970s.
She was an actress.
Yeah,
but actually a pretty good actress. She was on Good Times.
Yes.
A lot of shows. I remember I was watching once Arnold. What's that show? Different Strokes.
Yes.
and he got a girlfriend, and it was it was Janet Jackson. No,
Yeah.
that's Janet. And then I didn't hear from Janet Jackson for many years, and then Michael Jackson became famous, and then Janet gave the go ahead for Janet to start recording, and then she became a very good singer and performer and everything.
I have a couple of her records.
Yeah, this is a good album.
I have one called Control.
Control, yeah.
And her first album.
But you know what's sad? I feel sorry for her because she I think her career was derailed at the Super Bowl. You would think that'd be the biggest thing you ever did, to perform at the Super Bowl, and then that guy pulled her shirt off or something. And did anything happen to him? No, I think like 4 years later he hosted it by himself. Yeah. Janet Jackson should have been hosting it by herself. You don't see Janet a whole lot since then, which is sad. I know they said it was fixed and it actually helped her career and all. So I don't think it did. But I like Janet. And she's probably my favorite Jackson of the Jacksons.
I like Michael and Janet.
Well, I like Michael. Good performer.
Jermaine had a solo career.
Yeah,
solo career too.
Michael, of course. I read an article about Michael. You know all the trouble he got into with scandals and everything, and I mean he was a very reckless guy, and they said that Michael, for all his talent and money and everything, probably not a very smart guy. Yeah. Because he paid a $20 to $25 million claim that some kid's parent made against him to make it go away. Now, if he was innocent, that'd be, he should have fought it. And not only that, he always claimed he was innocent, but also he indulged in the same bad behavior after that. Not that I'm not sure whether everything was as they said it was, but he was still, hanging around Macaulay Culkin and people like that. So that was, I would, if I would have dodged a bullet as Michael Jackson did, I would, in any sort of crime, if I was a pickpocket and I got away with it, I would stop doing it, because next time you're not going to get away with it. So that's but the worst, I mean, that's bad enough. But Michael Jackson, had his own private doctor administering anesthesia every night to him. Gosh, and that's what killed him.
Yeah. Wow.
But Janet seems to have a better head on her shoulder. But they said Michael probably didn't get any real formal education. Probably had a tutor on set. He's probably traveling. He was too busy making money. And you want to know something? I'd like to have Michael Jackson's money, but I'm older than Michael Jackson now. Yeah. And live to be, and I'm still here to spend the $3. Yeah. So there you go. So that's Janet. I didn't know I was going to talk so much about Michael. I don't really have any Michael Jackson stuff. I think I have some LPs.
I have some records by him too. Yeah.
Well, he was good though. You know about Josephine Baker?
They had a biography on her years ago, I think, on HBO.
Okay. Why did you learn about it?
She was a singer. She toured the war and was singing in the war.
World War II.
Yeah, and I heard this rumor that she had an affair with Josephine Baker.
No, Josephine Baker is Josephine Baker.
Oh, okay. That she had
Frida Kahlo.
Yeah, Frida Kahlo.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. She was married a few times to men. I don't think when people say they have affairs, I mean, it's all speculation. Only they know, and the answer is probably not. That was in the movie Frida with Salma Hayek. And although a lot of people like that movie because it's about Frida Kahlo, I thought she was miscast as Frida Kahlo. Yeah. Now, the guy who played her husband, Alfred Molina, was a perfect Diego Rivera. So, but getting back to Josephine Baker, I'll tell you some things about Josephine Baker. Josephine Baker had a hard time making in the 1920s in America. She was from St. Louis, and so she moved to Paris, and she became the toast of Paris. And she lived there her whole life, pretty much her whole life. And then in the 1950s, we're talking maybe 25 years later, maybe 30 years later. She comes back to New York to try to get kickstart an American career, and she ran afoul of the famous gossip columnist called Walter Winchell,
Yeah.
and he wrote all these terrible things about her, and thus she went back to Paris and,
Yeah.
and continued her career. She came back to America every once in a while to do a concert or two. She's also famous for adopting something like almost 10 kids of different ethnicities and living in a big house.
Oh, wow.
And she was trying to show that this was peace in the world and that people could live under the same roof and all this. And I don't know how successful she was, but I think near the end of her life, she died, I think, in the late 1960s. I may be wrong about that. I think she had a hard time money wise because her career wasn't that great going, like a lot of older performers, and thus she had a hard time making ends meet with those 10 kids.
Yeah.
10 mouths of, like Mia Farrow adopted a lot of kids. I have a friend, her name is, and she came from a family sort of like that, where she was adopted, and there's all these ethnicities in her family. Yeah, and her name is Margaret. Yeah, and she once appeared on To Tell the Truth, when her mother appeared on To Tell the Truth, talking about adopting all these kids.
Yeah.
So anyway, we see Margaret every year at the folk festival.
Yeah. I haven't seen her yet. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I would like to meet her though.
Well, come to the folk festival. She's usually with the bucket asking for dollars.
Yeah.
And what else can I tell you? So Josephine Baker, also this friend. I shouldn't be talking so much about my friend, but because she's a private person. But she told me that what Josephine Baker did is harder than you think, and she thinks that Josephine Baker did it all for publicity. Because it got her in the news a lot. Adopting all these kids.
Yeah.
But she was very talented. You could watch her movies. She made a couple of movies in the early 30s in Paris. They're subtitled. They're in French, and they're subtitled. But she's very good. She has that banana dance in it, where she wears a dress like a hula skirt, but it's all made of bananas. It's pretty well.
Yeah, like Carmen Miranda.
Well, Carmen Miranda put it on her head.
Yeah.
She had the fruit salad on her head. Carmen Miranda was good too. She was from Brazil. Yeah. Josephine Baker. I mean, a lot of people think to this day Josephine Baker was French. Baker. But she's American.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, we got one more to look at. Why don't we talk about the Corrs?
Oh yeah, my dad had a tape years ago.
The Corrs.
Yeah.
The Corrs are very good.
They're
Corrs
like
are from Ireland.
Yeah, Irish band.
They're like the Irish version of HAIM.
Yeah.
It the Israeli version of the Corrs. Four pretty girls. No, three pretty girls and a man and I guess a brother. And a lot of people never heard of them until they were the musical guests at Saturday Night Live. And I remember Rosie O'Donnell, who now lives in Ireland. Rosie O'Donnell, of Irish descent, was so excited to see them. She had a talk show at the time that I think after seeing them on Saturday, by Monday or Tuesday, they were on her show. The Corrs. She goes, I never heard of them, and they're like the best band around. So the Corrs are very good. They sing, like a good, pop type songs, but they also sing Irish song. My Leg in Love is on, and they usually, have Irish sound, like the Celtic ladies or something, Celtic women. They have that type of music too. So the Corrs, I've never seen the Corrs. Not that I've never seen the Corrs. I've never seen them perform anywhere. I mean, probably in New York at the Beacon Theater or something, but I've never seen them in Virginia at any theater I go to. So next time they come to town, let's go see them.
Definitely, yeah.
The Corrs. We're not going to see Josephine Baker anywhere. So.
I would like to back then. Though.
You need a shovel and flashlights if you want to see Josephine Baker today. Anyway, gosh, what a show!
Yeah.
Thanks for having me here.
You're welcome,
Mary Elizabeth.
Yeah.
My name's Kaye Lazar. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. May God bless you. Take care.
Oh, one last thing. These are these clothes I'm wearing. The reason I'm dressed this way on a hot day, I'm waiting for someone to ask me for my autograph. Well, I see our birds here, but I got this nice Dennis Miller type tie. I dress. I was named. I was named the best dressed man by the Braille Institute. It's really all right. As you say it again, I had to get those jokes in.
Thank you all for tuning in. May God bless you all.